well, have we reached this point where quests are complete and the players are at healthy life totals? Well, then we're going to be looking for, who's used their big card yet, whether it's McTheridan or Metamorphosis. Because DreadEye's burn is going to have more potential. And then sometimes Glide just completely ruins all the analysis that we could possibly give.
And sometimes being every single game. One further point to what you've just said there is we've talked in other games about you're okay, you want to be the first McTheridan person, except when you don't, but you're scared of the counter McTheridan because last McTheridan kind of wins in those situations. There it is, being talked about, summon it. But Fr0zen doesn't have that concern in this matchup, so maybe he just plops a 12-12 onto the board. He has the ability, he has the Arcanist already, so he'll soon have the ability to be able to proc the McTheridan. And DreadEye isn't going to be able to counter Don, so, and there is the removal. So Fr0zen might just get a 12-12 that just hits his opponent twice and wins the game here. It's possible.
Yeah, well, DreadEye does have expendable performers, but it's possible that that's not even going to be able to be played by the time McTheridan's going to hit twice. Kurtrus, if you can squeeze in a lot of hero powers in the early game, could also do that. DreadEye does not hit draw off the Zilladari studies, which would have allowed for quest completion. Picks Starson Stelina, which is interesting because there's going to be a card blocking it from being outcast next turn. But yeah, here we go. McTheridan it is. I'm quite certain. Yep, there's McTheridan.
And we talk about it hitting twice. Hitting once is a lot of damage. If it just does one lot of 12, that could be enough, given what you've just discussed about how it tends to come down to somebody just dies for no particular reason because they've taken too much damage. 12's a lot. Even if it gets healed back up, that means that the later damage won't get healed back up.
Oh, yikes. This is not looking good for DreadEye. Everything is pretty much unplayable in this instance, and currently not looking like going to have an answer for the McTheridan. I believe this brings the Kurtrus demons up to are they 3/4s or 4/4s? Because if you can attack next turn, then bring them up to 5. If it brings them up to 5/5s.
Yep, he can do it with 4s as well, with the
5/4s
soon. Something we were talking about, if that Metamorphosis was a McTheridan of his own, he could actually do the counter McTheridan thing.
Oh, but Fr0zen has a 50-50 shot of hitting a glide here. Does the prey hands. He's like, glide me, please. Glide me, dude. Oh,
he doesn't need, yeah.
Oh,
he had cast it. I thought he top decked it, but yeah. He got it from the obvious. Okay. Now what does DreadEye get?
Metamorphosis?
Yeah. But it's going to be so slow. Fr0zen's going to start barraging and spectraling and blasting in a minute.
Can still hit Kurtrus off the top. Looks like he's going to glide.
Of course. Make a new plan, Fr0zen. We don't want to be barraged and spectraled. We want to be... Oh, it takes so long. Aura'd and Vipered. And that's a whiff. Fr0zen's drawn nothing.
DreadEye's trying a way to deal with the McTheridan, which is good.
Somehow he's keeping up on damage here as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, Fr0zen spent 2 entire turns just playing McTheridan and then making McTheridan emerge. Need for greed? Alright, Fr0zen just has all of the damage.
Yep. This should be 2-turn lethal from hand if DreadEye can't draw any way to heal next turn. I haven't counted it, but he'll draw more cards and so on. That's what I mean.
Yeah, Fr0zen can actually unload a lot of this.
He might save Arcanist Barrage. he might just go for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he like saved Chaos Strike just because you're replacing with a card in hand. It's a source of card draw if you do get. I'm not gonna even try to say glide, glid, gloatin, whatever.
I just use whichever one floats through my brain at the time. I don't even care.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say if he gets hit by the card, comma glide.
Yep, that's definitely a quicker way of doing things. I agree.
Yep. All right, so Kircher's complete, and there's an Aldraki Warblades picked up, which is incredibly important.
Yeah. So I'm laughing because it's either incredibly important or it's not important at all, depending what happens here. But it looks like it's going to be incredibly important.
DreadEye has played Fury, Fell Barrage, Fell Scream Blast. I don't think it'd be enough for lethal.
I think that's what Fr0zen's counting.
With Jace.
Because he had the chance to take I-Beam and Arcanist and I-Beam his own Arcanist and probably win the turn after.
Yeah.
I think he just gave a quick nod to the fact that he might die here, gave it a bit of a count, and reached the same conclusion that you did.
Yep.
All right, with Jace in hand, very good chance of winning next turn. Obviously, we can see that DreadEye is going to heal some back up, but at the moment, DreadEye doesn't have anything good, particularly. Not in terms of winning next turn.
I mean, Jace still heals for a good amount.
Sure, yeah, okay. Yeah, it does.
All right, so just going to play Kircher's, but Kircher's double jump glide.
Of course.
Yep.
And the merry-go-round continues. Or the roundabout.
But he's not healing.
Healing for 2.
Healing for 2. And does he even want to heal for 2? I guess you kind of have to.
Yeah, you're dead to sort of everything in the game, I think, otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. This is close.
Yeah.
Went up to 6, so Fr0zen is a Fury away or a Jace away from winning the game, or a Spectral set away from winning the game.
Now he has to do some counting.
Fell Barrage, sorry.
I think he's used them both, but I might be wrong. Now he's got to do some counting because he can move the Spectral Sight to Outcast, but that's a lot of mana by playing the Fellfire. So he probably won't do that and then just draw 1 card. Oh! Everybody's just... Ah!
All right, he's dead. Yeah, very dead.
Yep.
Very, very dead.
Very dead, right?
Seven damage.
Metamorphosis is...
Oh, no, he's 1 off.
I think
he's 1 off.
You can't order it so you can get the +1 and the +2 and the 4 damage, right? Can you? Can you hero power?
Oh, he's good. He's good. It's 8. It's 8. It's 8 with the hero power.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got it. Because you can attack twice with each of the things, assuming they're less than 7 attack. They're not. No, he's 1 off. No, he's got it. He's got it. He's got it. He attacks here, hero powers, attacks hero powers, attacks hero powers. That's exactly 14. Yeah. Okay.
The Metamorphosis was like the red herring.
It was the bait. Yeah, it was the bait. That was pretty brutal. It felt like Fr0zen had the advantage for most of that game, but the damage was sneaking up on him. He was pushing all this damage without Aldraki Warblades. So Fr0zen was just not healing. He dumped a Fell Scream Blast for 1 health at a certain point, and at the end, he didn't feel like he was in enough danger to warrant like trying to go for desperation, right? He just made the best play that he could, knowing that it would have, like, there wasn't many Jace spells played, that the 7 damage that DreadEye needed was actually kind of difficult. As we saw, right?
Yeah.
It was Kirchus alone that would have been enough.
And it was off the
Which
back
maybe that's enough to deter you. But you can see how that matchup gets so incredibly weird.
Yeah, we've cast it, I think, 4 times now. That might be 3, but it feels like 4. And it feels like it's never even close to being the same game twice. I'm sure it is if you do play it a lot, but it hasn't felt that way in the few occasions I've played it, and it certainly hasn't looked it, especially when you throw in slightly different builds as well, which isn't usually the case, but obviously in DreadEye's case it is. And obviously the Metamorphosis that wasn't played shows that his build is the better one. That's how sample sizes work.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. But that's a big win for DreadEye, because I felt like putting these lineups head to head, the Demon Hunter was the weak link for DreadEye. So Fr0zen being able to win the mirror in that instance would have been huge, because then he could continue to prey on the Demon Hunter and always have an out with his decks, but wasn't able to get there. So now we're looking at Masaki Mage and Quest Hunter as the 2 decks that are left for DreadEye to get the job done, and I feel like they're just pretty well positioned.
Yeah.
The Masaki Mage particularly, I just don't see how this Warrior deck, outside of Mutinous hitting Masaki, can do enough.
I've lost the page in my book because I still use 1980s technology for my notes. Yep, you're right. I agree. And here's the handlock, which Mutinous Showstopper handlock. That's it.
So I guess against Masaki Mage, the handlock can present a big board and then use Showstopper to push through for lethal, but that happens so late. And I don't know. I
think you're right, though. It's so when you play against this deck, the fact that a Showstopper exists puts a little bit of pressure on you.
Yeah, but not really.
Not a huge amount, but it does mean you might go a turn quicker than you should for some card draw or something.
It's not relevant unless you're dead on board and your opponent has 9 mana to play Showstopper, kill it with a touch, and then play Battlemaster, right? Like,
that is kind of late.
And by that time, if your opponent's not dead, you did something wrong. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
I don't know.
Zaki 30th card, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, what are these? What are those?
Oh, this is how Fled built his deck. He just went for a few discovers and picked...
Wait, Dragon's Breath is sick. Is that even what it's called?
I don't know. Never ask me card names, TJ. I don't know any of them. Now I've got to look things up. It's not like I'm paid to.
No, because Dragon's Breath it's Deep Breath. Sorry, Deep Breath. It deals damage based on the other spells in your hand. It deals damage to a minion plus its neighbors, and then it's improved by other spells in your hand.
So it's basically mini Flame Strike a lot of the time.
Yeah, Deep Breath is actually the nuts. You can kill an entire board with it.
Including Giants right now, with all those spells in hand.
Yeah.
Not that there's going to be any Giants for a while, but in the event, soon, where the Giants will turn up. He's just doing all the things so quickly. He's flowed on 4, like all good players do. He's taken the deep breath. And he's going to exhale it all over some Giants in a minute.
The downside is that it takes up a whole turn. Is that a downside?
I think he's only playing 1 flurry as well. Just double checking that. He's only playing 1 flurry. So...
Like Brain Freeze.
Yeah.
Ice Barrier.
My point being that he probably doesn't mind losing a turn. He's sort of just building mana up to Mazaki somebody. Okay, he's still got to get the Mazaki, but look at the card draw. Look at everything going on in this hand.
Yeah.
The second the Giant comes down, he may just choose to kill the first Giant. Fr0zen can't play around. Deep Breath.
Oh, I like this.
Yep.
Even though it plays more into Flurry, the Flesh Giant's guaranteed to be Fr0zen, if that's the case.
Yep.
It's also guaranteed to be Fr0zen's.
I wasn't even going to go there. We've done that one once, but yeah, when you say it's like to be Fr0zen, I'm like, oh, that joke alert is twitching.
It doesn't even need to be deep breath. It can just be plippity plopped. There's the plippity, there's the plop.
Yep, plippity plopped. It's still not got the deep breath. It hasn't got much plop left. Oh, there's plenty more plop where that came from, actually. Just holding on now for Mozaki.
I want a tippity-tat. Baron Scavenger's back to the next turn. There's the Raise Dead. Would have hand space, but would need to hit exactly Flush Giant in order for it to be active. It would cost 0, because Backfire, Tap, plus Raise Dead. Cost 3 last turn.
Yep.
Would also complete the quest. And there's been 3 total minions that have died. Flush Giant, Tour Guide, Tour Guide. Hits Flush Giant, all right. So pressure's starting to ramp up a little bit. Fr0zen still has a Flush Giant in the deck. Baron Scavengers are going down to 1 mana next turn. Cold Neophyte could also be a big deal. And DreadEye's struggling for card draw.
Yep, and there may also end up being a turn where he has Mozaki in hand and it gets eaten because there's no other... Oh, there's some multicasters hanging around, but it's kind of an easy target, the Mozaki, if Mutinous turns up for Fr0zen. That's the way this game could potentially end that we're looking out for. DreadEye's just converting all of his cards into mana now, ready in case he does get to go. He knows he's going to have to go off pretty quickly. He's running out of stalling mechanisms here. Still got a little while with that deep breath that we talked about. And obviously some freezes will turn up if they're not Mozaki's turning up, but closer than he would have hoped right now. Tippity tapping.
Oh. I wonder how hard you play around Deep Breath. You play around Kona Cold, which naturally plays around Deep Breath, right?
You will accidentally make the right positioning moves even if you don't remember Deep Breath exists. And I trust Fr0zen to remember it anyway because he will have tested his matchup and it probably comes up more often than we think.
Okay, he didn't play around it at all.
Okay, cool. Good talk. Thanks, Fr0zen.
There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now there's only 7. Needs a deep breath first. Unless it counts itself, which is completely random these days.
It does. I think it actually says on the card, actually, in defense of deep breath.
It says it's damage.
It deals 1.
Improved by number of other spells in hand.
Yeah.
And it's base 1. Okay, never mind.
It's base 1, so it counts itself because it's base 1.
The old, it counts itself, eh?
But at least it implies...
Wait. We have an interesting situation here. DreadEye has Mozaki, but no card draw. But he knows that Fr0zen will only have 6 cards left in deck. One of those cards would have to be Mutinous.
Try and hit a multi-cast?
I think he's got to go now. I think he's just got to go and pray.
You can try and hit multi-cast, there's 2 of those, and then pray in a different way. He's going. Yeah, he's just getting minions. I don't think he'll play this down, right? Unless he does think he can go for it. But he's running out of time if he's going to go. And card draw. Keep it! Yep. He was trying to get minions in hand there, I think, because I don't think he felt he could go. Uh-oh.
All right. Yeah, he's got to keep it in hand. He stopped himself.
Yeah, he got halfway across the board, maybe even like 75, 78, 81% of the way to the corner, and then he dragged it back. Like, no, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, so Fr0zen's got a 50-50 here. If Fr0zen had one more mana, they'd be lethal.
Now he's got a choice. The one mana would be lethal, yes, because Showstopper 2, 4, 10. Yes. Got a choice. Do I try and eat the thing, knowing that there's a primordial thing? But that also, the fact he didn't do anything with the minion he took from the primordial way that Mizaki's there.
Oh, he nailed it! Oh, he nailed it! Oh, he just ate it. Oh, no.
Wow. Get fished, I guess. Moment of silence while we look at Mutinous's eyes. Just look at it. It's crazy. It knows, right?
And Mutinous has feelings too.
Yeah, but you don't want to know what they are. It's over.
It is over.
DreadEye needs to remove all the boards, stop all the things, and deal 29 damage before Fr0zen does anything.
It's not over.
All right.
There's 20 damage on board.
Uh-huh.
Fr0zen has... DreadEye has 21 life.
Uh-huh. Good.
Now there's less. There's only 14 damage on board.
Mm-hmm.
But Fr0zen can go full neophyte, tippity tap.
I mean,
Netheron's now an option as well. You just load up the board.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't over necessarily immediately. I'm just trying to work out the world where...
Oh, wait. This is quest completion. That's not enough.
But look at it. So much stuff. All DreadEye has to do to win this is chain like 7 ignites and he's good. Is where I was going with that random waffling conversation that I put together. I'm going to go out on a limb here, TJ. I think Fr0zen's going to win this game.
Yeah. I agree. Watch this hit double multicaster. Nope.
There's one. He does have 5 million mana. He can do what he likes. Uh-huh. Feel like he has to ignite and then draw it.
Oh, yeah, and then what? And then what?
And then cycle into ignite. Uh-huh. Well, if that's not going to get it done, I'm not quite sure what combination does get it done. Fr0zen levels the scores. And the Warlock, which has been doing really badly across all of GM this week in all the regions, is out of there. So both the Warlocks are gone and we're down to 4 different classes. Talk of the day. All these different sort of deck archetypes we're seeing.
Yeah, we got a Quest Hunter and Mizaki Mage for DreadEye remaining to find wins. Fr0zen has Control Warrior, Kazakhstan Warrior, whatever you want to call it. Fell Demon Hunter as the 2 ways. So, I'm honestly not sure. Mizaki Mage obviously has its weaknesses, as we've seen. The Warrior, I think, doesn't want to match up against the Mizaki Mage unless this exact scenario happens where Mutinous is able to grab some of the... grab some of the... What am I saying? Grab the specific minion. Grab the Mizaki and then eat it. I don't know. So, Quest Hunter is still a big question mark for me. I've been playing some of this deck. Against decks that don't play minions, it can sometimes just be difficult to complete the quest. And we have but 2 decks left for Fr0zen that don't play minions.
Right.
Which is the Fell Demon Hunter and the Control Warrior. It does feel like the Quest Hunter does have inevitability, though. It just takes a long time to ramp up. There are some disruption in there. You have the double Dun Baldar bunkers, which can pull the secrets out of your deck, which just includes Explosive Trap and Ice Trap. Ice Trap can be quite annoying. Once you get into a certain point of the game, you can dish out lots of damage. But Fr0zen can just kind of play things, can just play cards.
Yeah,
as long as those cards are minions, like, should just be fine. Can just keep hero powering over and over again, and DreadEye just doesn't really have a great way to defend himself.
And stuff like the Fell Barrage, for instance, actually actively improves because the Hunter doesn't play any minions itself. It's just more stuff in the face. You play the weapon because you've got double weapon. He's trying to work out if he can just get the barrage to face now, though, what the chances are of petting Zoo, I guess, being the problem.
Demons.
Equip and hold.
The build of this Quest Hunter right yet? Like having 0 minions in it. I know people have played it with minions sort of from time to time, just so they can shoot their own things and get a bit of extra damage in. Do you feel this is the final build, or is it going to continue to evolve?
It'll probably continue to evolve. I mean, I've in tournaments, this is really all I've seen, and most of the decks on ladder are this variation.
Mm-hmm.
But I have seen some other variations on ladder that do still run minions. And you do have, like, Wound Prey to be able to have a minion to kill yourself.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess the meta evolves around it, so it has to evolve to respond. It's kind of how metas work, but
yeah,
this generally feels a little bit weird to me. Excuse me, which is usually a good sign, not a bad sign. If something feels like it's weird to me, it probably means that's because it's good. Because otherwise I just spend my time in Loser Town.
Loser Town. Population, Neil.
Thanks, DJ. Appreciate
Oh no,
it.
not you. This other guy I know named Neil.
Oh, maybe it's all the Neils. Sorry to any Neils out there who don't live in Loser Town, but we'll see you soon.
Maybe you live there and you just don't know.
Always welcome. Opportunity here if Fr0zen wants it to play everything on the left-hand side of his hand. Including...
I wonder if you want to... like if you want to attack into the Explosive Trap first. There's an Ice Trap up too, so that's also something that you got to think about.
Yes, so which one do you want to lose?
Spectral Sight, it'll put it in outcast position for you.
That's kind of cool. Fr0zen agrees.
It's just a way to move it over. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Even DreadEye see the funny side of that one. It's like, okay.
Yep.
Time grows short.
Wow, hold again. Okay, really doesn't want to give him quest progress. But DreadEye is got and also the opportunity to get another Explosive Trap from the Rinling's rifle. But DreadEye is just tearing through this quest. And Fr0zen is running out of life.
Yeah. He needs a Fury or something here to just start gaining health back because he does have the weapon, blah, blah, blah. So even though he is running out of life rapidly, he's a turn or two to do what Demon Hunters do best, which is gain it all back. And there's a Jace, so if you can fill next turn with, you know, another Chaos Strike, another Furies, and some sort of weapon buff, and then go into Jace, he might just win the game, and he might be tempted because of that to launch the barrages. The decision he needs to make is whether he wants to play the Arcanist or not after triggering the Explosive Trap.
Yeah, he saw another secret. It was picked instantly. It's not Ice Trap, but Fr0zen has to think of the implications of Ice Trap. I think Chaos Strike is probably more important here because he wants the healing from Chaos Strike. And the draw to an extent, right?
Yep.
A Fury would be huge here.
He needs the draw, I agree. So play Fel Barrage, and then the Chaos Strike, and then then attack, and then the Arcanist, and then the other barrage.
You might even keep the Arcanist at a low health. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
That's a good point. So it plays around, yeah.
Yeah, so this is interesting too, because this kind of forces DreadEye to put attention on these, instead of launching damage to face, put attention on these minions, because each of these minions represents 2 healing going into the next turn. So it looks like Fr0zen, and also what Fr0zen wants to do here, it seems, is get a Aldraki Warblades with an upgraded hero power and Chaos Strike, and then Aldraki Warblade swing with Jace's Chaos Strike as well. So, DreadEye can get Tavish this turn and get it played. Whoa. Okay, the explosive trap will get Tavish and kill off one of these. If you attack into explosive trap and your minion dies, do you get the hero power reset?
I don't know. I think you do. I think it's when it attacks, not when it hits the opponent. Yeah, after friendly minion attacks, so it attacks.
Yeah, but has it completed its attack? Is the thing.
We'll find out.
No,
I thought you did.
It needs to complete its attack.
Ah.
Yeah, I think you just unload everything here, right? Let's count. He's going to play Tavish next turn. So the Fel Barrages will only be killing the Tavish. If he goes Talented Arcanist, Fel Barrage, that's 12 points of damage, plus 8, so that's 20. And then Chaos Strike by itself wouldn't be enough. Right?
Right. But he has Jace. So.
No, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Jace would only cast Fel Barrages and Chaos Strike. And the Fel Barrage would kill the...
You'll go face, right?
No, it would kill the Tavish. Which is being played this turn.
But the hero's going to be smaller than the Tavish?
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, sorry. My bad. Dude, that's why we keep you around, Neil.
Well, for the one time a week when I notice something actually on the screen rather than talk about Loser Town.
Yep.
Roger that, Chicken Scratch.
So maybe you hero power your own Tavish.
Yes.
That's a DreadEye play if I've ever seen one. I'm telling you.
Possible, and he should probably do it.
Oh, no, but then the second Fel Barrage actually hits you in the face. You're dead to Jace no matter what. Yeah. Oh, it hits Fury anyway. Doesn't matter.
And plays
it was also...
That's what DreadEye would do.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was honestly kind of the ideal start for both players in a sense, where DreadEye had all of these damage spells in hand that didn't require targets, quick shots, aim shots, wound prey, that kind of thing, where he could just keep pushing the damage, get Tavish completed quickly, without having to rely on Fr0zen actually playing minions. The explosive trap also put Fr0zen in this awkward spot, and I think Fr0zen showed the perfect amount of patience, waiting till he had kind of this critical mass of healing before he ever swung with the Aldraki Warblades to be able to bounce himself back up. And then kind of his burn on the perfect turn to make it super awkward for DreadEye to be able to find a window of opportunity to actually like play Tavish and start dealing damage. So was like well played on both sides, but when you have like perfect starts for both players, Quest Hunter just doesn't, it still needs time, right? So,
yes.
But now the meat, it's time for the main course, which is a big hunk of meat.
Okay. And why is this the big hunk of meat as opposed to the appetizer of some small soup?
Because the Warrior's the deck that I was worried the most about I think.
Okay.
With these two decks. Against Mizaki Mage, Mizaki Mage can deal a ton of damage to where your armor almost doesn't even seem relevant. And you have very small windows of opportunity as the warrior to try and like win the game. And you don't have like this bona fide win condition outside of Mutinous hitting exactly Mizaki. So you have to kind of get this like bulwark plus a certain amount of armor total to delay Mizaki enough to where DreadEye has to think to himself, well, I can't go off on turn 6 because I won't have enough damage if he plays bulwark. So Fr0zen's probably going to be like, assuming DreadEye has a great start, which he's got the inklings of it with Encounters Flow into Refreshing Spring Water, and then defend himself, and then Mizaki.
However, all the things you just said,
Mutinous.
Fr0zen might need are coming to pass. He's got some armor gain. He's got the bulwark. He's got the mutinous, and he's got 2 armor just thrown in. Look at that already.
Just 2 of it, straight up.
Both of the armors, TJ. And you know what armor's like. You've worn armor live on set.
I have. This is a fact.
And you even know where now, right? Because I've told you so many times.
Yep. It was inside of a building. I wore it inside of a building.
Uh-huh.
At DreamHack.
Uh-huh.
Austin.
Yes! Yeah.
In 2000.
Yes.
17.
I believe that is correct. You have won maximum points for the day.
Nice.
Well, not for the day, for the match, because you might need to win some more points in the final. We shall see. But well done, TJ. You knew where you were at a point where you wore a suit of armor.
I get $500 and a point.
And a suit of armor.
Ooh, Mask of Cthulhu.
Does he need it, though? Like, if he goes, doesn't he just go?
Yeah, you're right. He just needs something to dump out of his hand. Okay. Well, DreadEye can't pop off next turn, which means Mutinous will come down. Well, he could, right? Like, he could.
I think this is what you were talking about. I think he's going to go for this play, sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, he's going to gain enough armor to where he's going to say, all right, well, if you have Mizaki in hand, you can't do it. And DreadEye knows. Hold on to the coin. It's going to be a 50-50 unless currently, yeah. And I don't think that's going to change.
It might. I think last game he was very acutely aware of this and tried to get minions in hand. I think he's considering his options here.
Well, he was about to trade the guild trader, and then he's like, Mutinous.
Yep. It got 81% of the way across the screen last time.
All right, well, this is a potentially game-winning turn here for Fr0zen. If he goes for it, been through half the deck.
He'll go for it. It's kind of his main win condition.
50-50.
Good luck, everybody!
Hyong! Wapacha! He ate it.
Never misses. Got fished twice.
Fr0zen has now played
Go on.
8 Mutinous in the past 2 days.
I believe that's correct.
8 of them.
And they've ate a lot of minions.
Yep. Now, it's not completely over because Fr0zen still needs to actually kill DreadEye. But he's got the tools to do it with both Raid Boss Nixia and Kazakhstan. But the Kazakhstan is the big one there because DreadEye can actually just kill all the minions and then sort of just...
Oh, no. What's this mutinous ever done to you? Look at him. Just doing 4 damage to his own mutinous again.
He didn't kill it.
He didn't kill it when he hit it with the bristleback either, but, you know.
Yeah. So the game's not over. There's still a ton of damage that DreadEye can deal. Fatigue is never a factor because of Ignite. They're just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. and there's still a ton of removal in the hand, and a lot of this damage can be done in a single turn, right? It's a big blow to DreadEye's game plan, obviously, but it ain't over. I wonder if Fr0zen wants to wait for any other specific cards in his deck before he plays Kazakhstan, or if he's just going to play it on 8 and fish for a win condition.
So one thing he'll have on his mind is when to play this Bulwark, because played correctly, that's so much damage prevention against these Ignites. So when they start getting a bit more scary, like in a turn or two, he doesn't want to get pinged away, but he'll buy himself a turn at that point. Cards he might fish for in his deck, Rakara, but it's only one card, so he's just going to straight up play Kaz. And I feel we haven't seen many Kazas actually played. Oh, Army Knife, because... Oh no, Looming Presence.
Yeah, see, here's where it gets difficult. He doesn't really have... Kazakhstan's probably going to die.
Presence.
In which case, Bananas... Oh, Boombots, okay.
Book.
Books cost a lot. Okay, Annoy Horn.
Depending what he took. If he took the Boombots, maybe take the jars, but sure.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that might be correct. Yeah, Boombots with jars. He did take Boombots.
Do you want to block my Boombots, or if you do, you know, got to worry about my jars?
Look at those. Look at those jars.
They are huge.
They're menacing. I think it's just a camera trick. I actually think those jars are incredibly small.
Fangs? Yeah. Because health, if... He's just going to try and force DreadEye into the spot where DreadEye has to kill him in one turn, but there's a Bulwark up, so he sort of has to kill him over 2 turns, and then heal up any damage and make him do it again. Yeah. Just going to make it really fiddly and awkward.
Yeah, I mean, Boombots and Book of the Dead should theoretically be all he needs. Which I believe he did pick, right? Because the Boombots, they're going to have to die at some point. Or they'll just win the game by hitting face. And then the Book of the Dead will be cheap enough with the Boombots dying, which Fr0zen can actually just kill them off. He can gain armor with them from Rancor too, so it's like a double whammy. And then Book of the Dead would be enough to finish the game. So those treasures are very good for this situation.
Yeah. I'm on dangerous ground here because talking about W's is something that I should avoid at all costs. But do you change the letters around when you say whammy? You say hoo instead of wuh?
It depends how I feel.
Okay. I've got experience with the letter W because there's 2 of them in my alphabet, so...
Whammy!
Whammy indeed. Roger that.
Whamming mount!
Okay, so we've reached the part of the game now where we stare at DreadEye's hand and try and work out how he gets this infinite ignites, which again you've highlighted is doable-ish. Saving the crams.
He can do a lot next turn when this Phoenix emerges. But
that's probably
when Fr0zen plays the Bulwark.
Yes. Still intriguing, even though it's kind of one-sided.
Does he have any Discover left? To get like more Dresh or something? I don't know. He doesn't.
So it's less Dresh.
No Ruined Orbs left. Big in hand space.
Yeah. Never liked you anyway, Phoenix. And now the whole crux of the operation.
Another happy guildie.
How big are these now?
Great question.
Saving the files
question, actually.
Excuse me. So he's got triple ways of getting tradable to get them back. The ignites. That one's a... Is that a 6? That's a 6.
Yeah, it's 6.
So it's only a 4, really, because it's getting +2.
Yep. So he's still a ways off.
So what does he need? He needs an 8, a 9, a 10, and an 11 is what my gut instinct says. Give or take.
Oh, Looming Presence, so good. Oh, Looming Presence, so good.
Looming that presence. And then he'll probably just kill the Phoenix off and tell DreadEye, go on then, do that thing you can do.
Yeah, there's the bots. I wonder if he plays them this turn, if he... And with a Rancor.
7 bots is 7 times 2.5. What, 14, 17.5 damage on average?
And then he can also play the Book of the Dead. Oh, no, he can't play the Book of the Dead at the same time. Oh, yeah, he can with... no, he wouldn't be able to with Shield Shatter because his armor's going to get ripped off this turn, most likely.
Oh, actually...
Boombot's Rancor, it would go down to... Book of the Dead would go down to 3, so he wouldn't be able to play that in the same turn. But he gains so much armor.
What about Minefield? Boombot's 4.
It would kill 5, and so you still wouldn't be able to play. You'd still be 1 man off playing.
It's 1 off either way. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe you are supposed to play the Boombots last turn then instead of armoring up. But then you wouldn't get the armor from Rancor. Ooh, this is real tough. This is interesting.
There's a lot of armor here, and a lot of mana, and a lot of ways to draw cards here.
All right, so this one's only 3.
Wow, it can barely even talk.
I have a 3-year-old, and he talks a lot.
I know, but he's your 3-year-old, TJ.
Well, last night, as I was getting ready to put him to bed, this is the first time he's ever said it. Told this story. My wife's probably watching right now. She's like, "Oh my god, he's told this story to literally everybody that'll listen." So I'm gonna listen to more people that'll listen. As I was putting him to bed, he asked me, "Well, how's your day going so far, Daddy?" That's it.
Good.
But that's the first,
nice.
that's the first time he's ever asked me a question that was like, "How are you doing?" You know?
Yeah, not just
the first time he's cared about my feelings.
Not like, "What is it?" or "Feed me." It's like, "Hey, Daddy."
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, not.
What did you say?
First time he's asked a question that wasn't, "Can I have goldfish?"
Did you say, "Never ask me that again"? How dare you? That's really nice.
It was really nice. It was really nice. So I've told literally everybody that'll listen. So yeah, DreadEye's dead.
Unless we've miscounted lethal worse than we've ever miscounted lethal before.
No, there's literally no way.
Unless he gets complacent.
That's at 5. The other one's at 7, right?
All right. How does Fr0zen do 3 damage?
Book of the Dead.
That's 7 damage.
He can't. To be fair, he cannot deal 3 damage. Okay, he can't. But he can deal 7, which is enough, and that means Fr0zen takes the series. And honestly, not something I expected. The 2 Mizaki Mage games played out differently than I had thought they would. But that's where the Mutinous comes in, right? DreadEye did a good job of, holding on to a minion in hand, knowing that Mutinous was a possibility to make it a 50-50. It's just that Fr0zen won both 50-50s to eat the Mizaki. So it's a rough break for DreadEye in that one. And then also like the Quest Hunter versus Demon Hunter. I thought that one would go like a little bit longer, right? That Tavish would come into play and it'd be an all-out race. But I did think that Fr0zen managed that early game quite well by not attacking to the explosive trap, waiting for the right opportunity to play all those spells and amassing these resources, and then going for the kill. He set up the lethal even without the top deck Fury. So quite well done by Fr0zen, and he's going to move on to the finals to face Fled But I feel like both Fr0zen and Fled had these situations last year where it felt like we saw them all the time, but then we didn't really ever see them in the finals. I know that they both had finals appearances, but it felt like we saw them a ton in the quarterfinals, in decider matches, in quarterfinals, and semifinals, but then they never quite made it that full step. And they had like these super consistent runs, but never had that super big breakout within Grandmasters. Now we're seeing that from both of them simultaneously making it to the final, so pretty cool.
Yeah, and I said this about Luna, but even more for Fr0zen. I feel like he's really focused, really on it at the moment. He's always a great player, no matter how on it he is. I always want to make this distinction, but he seems like he's going deep. It just feels like he's really interested.